Hello everyone. Welcome to this tutorial on Python Basics. Today we're going to deal with an introduction with important built-in types in Python. We're going to go into detail with built-in types, and they are frequently used in different programming algorithms. So the basic agenda is going to be pretty straight and simple. We're going to talk about tuples, lists, and dictionaries, and we will treat the string as a list, and discover how the string, which we have just been thinking about as a group of characters, can be treated. And internally, actually, is sort of a list. So starting with tuples, let me switch to my command prompt. Now let's hit the Python interpreter again and try to understand what a tuple is before we actually create one. A tuple is actually a sequence type data structure, and it is actually an immutable sequence data type structure. So what data structure does in Python is we usually have a lot of data, because that is not normally the case that you will be having one or two values. You'll actually be having a sequence of values. So to deal with such sort of data structures, we have sequence data structure types, and a tuple is one of them. And the basic distinction about a tuple is that it is an immutable sequence. So having said that, let's create a sequence called tuple. Tuple 1 is what I will call it. And it actually starts with a parenthesis. And we can assign multiple values of different data types. Here you can see that I have created a tuple with 2 values as a string and 2 values as an integer. It doesn't matter what sorts of values are input. It could all be integers. It could all be strings. It could all be complex numbers, or it could be all float numbers. So let's do that. Now, as you can see that I have just created a tuple. Now, the biggest question is how to access this tuple, or access it as a specific element of this tuple. What a tuple does is once it creates the number element, each and specific element can be indexed by a specific number called its index. Let's say tuple 1 has a length of 4. That means there will be 4 indexes, 0, 1, 2, and 3. So if you're planning to access the value at a second index, what we're going to do is this. And hear this true. Same, we can do that with 2 and 3. Now, as you guys might remember that I said it is an immutable sequence. Therefore, if we try to change the value of this particular element at this index, then it throws that the tuple object does not support item assignment, and that is because it is an immutable sequence. Now we'll create tuple 2, and we'll give it some numbers. Okay. Now, since we have yet another tuple, we can concatenate both of them, and it will not be a problem at all. So as you can see there, what this operation did is it concatenated the next tuple into the end of the first tuple. But let's consider it on a few of them. First of all, try to access the range of indexes. Sorry, the variable name error. Okay, tuple 1 to 2 is only 2. So I've actually given 2 indexes over here. The first one, the second one. The first one means including this integer and excluding this integer index. If we might have done something like that, then it gives the 2 integers. Let's try to go a little forth and give us all of the values. Here we go. So in this way, we can do the slicing of this tuple. Now let's do something which we haven't done yet. Let's try to access an index which hasn't been actually created or doesn't exist in the tuple. So it gives me the error of the tuple index out of range. Now do one other thing. We are going to do the slicing of the tuple out of its index. And actually, it gives me an empty tuple. That is because there is no such tuple with these indexes. However, it is noticeable there is not any sort of error thrown. And this is a very important point, and it has to be kept in mind as well. Now that we're going to do this, we're going to apply a little method over it and operators over it. For example, tuple 1 is multiplied by 4. So what it actually does is, it actually appends 3. More same tuples and the end of the first one. In sort of a way, it multiplies the tuple 4 times, We can actually check if some specific value does exist in the tuple or not. Let's say 1 in tuple 1. It returns true because 1 does exist in it. Let's try to access the value which does not exist, then it will return us as false. We can actually traverse the value of this tuple as well by using the syntax like that. We actually ran a loop and printed all the elements of this particular tuple. Few functions we have discussed about tuple.